Okay, so we've all been there, right? Your schedule is just a complete mess. It's always changing, and trying to stick to a consistent routine, it feels pretty much impossible. But what if the secret wasn't about forcing some rigid schedule onto your chaotic life? What if it was about building a system that actually works because of the chaos, not in spite of it? That's exactly what we're going to unpack here.
And this feeling is just, it's so relatable. It was captured perfectly by a Reddit user who said, look, I have tasted what life feels like when I am productive and healthy, but keeping it going, that feels like the hardest part. It's this super common, super frustrating cycle that so many of us get stuck in.
So, how do you actually fix this? I'll tell you right now, it's not about finding some magic new planner or downloading another productivity app. The real solution starts with a pretty surprising mental shift and a strategy that's actually borrowed from the world of elite sports.
And that strategy is all about the incredible power of tiny, almost invisible improvements. It's a concept called the aggregation of marginal gains. And the big idea here is that small changes aren't just small changes. They're the literal building blocks of absolutely remarkable results. To really get this, we've got to look at the story of the British cycling team. For the better part of a century, these guys were, well, they were the definition of average. I mean, they had a dismal Olympic record. Then they hired a new performance director named Dave Brailsford, and everything changed. What's wild is that Brailsford didn't come in and try some massive, sweeping overhaul. Nope. Instead, he broke down every single thing you could think of and just tried to improve it by 1%. He was looking at things nobody else was, from the comfort of the bike seats, to finding the absolute best massage gel, to even teaching riders the right way to wash their hands to avoid getting sick. I mean, this stuff sounds almost obsessive, right? Trivial even.
But the results? They were anything but trivial. Between 2007 and 2017, all those tiny 1% improvements, they compounded into this: 178 world championships. Not to mention 66 Olympic gold medals and 5 Tour de France titles. They went from being totally mediocre to one of the most successful teams in the history of sports. And this is where it clicks for our own lives. Just like that cycling team, our small habits, working out for just 10 minutes, reading a single page, meditating for 60 seconds, they often feel totally insignificant at first. We don't see the results right away, so we just stop. We expect progress to be this nice, neat, straight line, but that's not how it works at all.
You see, we get stuck in what author James Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. This gap you see here between the linear progress we expect and what actually happens, that's the valley of death where most people quit. The real, powerful outcomes are almost always delayed. It's kind of like melting an ice cube. It stays at 0 degrees for a long time. Nothing seems to be happening. Then suddenly it hits 1 degree and it breaks through. Your efforts aren't being wasted. They're just building up potential.
So how do you push through that plateau? Well, it takes a very specific kind of motivation. And it comes from what I think is the most important mindset shift of all. Stop focusing on what you want to achieve and start focusing on who you want to become. Okay, so think of it like this. Change happens on 3 layers. On the outside, you have your outcomes, the results you get, like losing weight. In the middle, you have your processes, your habits. But the deepest, most powerful layer, that's your identity, what you truly believe about yourself. Most of us try to change from the outside in, but real, sustainable change, it has to start from the inside out. And this just completely flips the script, doesn't it? So instead of saying my goal is to run a marathon, you say my goal is to become a runner. The first one is a temporary finish line. The second is about who you are. The real goal isn't to write a book, it's to become a writer. It shifts the focus from the finish line to building the identity of someone who just shows up. And here's the magic behind this idea. Every single time you put on your running shoes and go for a jog, no matter how short, you're casting a vote for the identity, I am a runner. Every time you write one paragraph, you're casting a vote for, I am a writer. These small wins aren't just about progress. They are proof. They're evidence that you're becoming that new person.
And once you start to believe it, sticking with the habit gets so much easier. All right, so with that new mindset locked in, let's build our practical toolbox. How do we actually apply all this when life is just all over the place? The answer isn't one single rigid routine. It's a set of flexible tools you can mix and match to fit any kind of day. So here's the 5-part toolkit. First up, time windows. Even on your most insane days, you probably control the first 30 minutes after you wake up and the last 30 before bed. Anchor a small key routine there. Second, day types. Don't have one routine, have a few. A full version for high-energy days and a simple one for low-energy days. Third, habit pairing. This is a game changer. Link a new habit to something you already do. For example, right after my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. Fourth, make it non-time bound. Instead of a morning workout, call it a 20-minute energy boost that you can slot in whenever a gap appears. And finally, number 5, have an abridged version. This is your emergency plan for the worst days, a 2-minute stripped-down version of your routine. The only goal is to not break the chain. This brings me to maybe one of my favorite ideas for anyone who struggles with consistency, and it's this quote: "Things worth doing are worth doing poorly." We get stuck in this all-or-nothing trap, right? If I can't do my full 30-minute workout, I'll just do nothing. This completely flips that. A 5-minute walk is so much better than no walk. Doing something badly is always, always better than doing nothing at all. And the best way to put that idea into practice is with the 2-minute rule. It's super simple. Whatever new habit you want to start, you have to scale it down until it takes less than 2 minutes to do. The goal here isn't to get amazing results in those 2 minutes. The goal is to master the art of just showing up. So what does this actually look like? Well, read before bed becomes read 1 page. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. You literally can't fail at that. It makes starting completely frictionless. And once you've started, hey, it's way easier to just keep going. You're building that identity first. Okay, so now for a bit of a pro move. Instead of just relying on pure willpower, how can you actually design your environment to lock in good behaviors and make your bad habits almost impossible to do? The tool we're going to use here is called a commitment device. And really, it's just a fancy term for a choice you make right now that puts guardrails on your future self. You're making it easier to do the right thing tomorrow when you know you'll be less motivated. You know, one of the wildest examples of this comes from the writer Victor Hugo. Back in 1830, he was facing this impossible deadline for a book he'd been putting off for a year. So to force himself to write, he gathered up all of his fancy clothes and had his assistant lock them away. I mean, he was literally trapped in his own study with nothing to do but write. He couldn't go out and socialize. By making his bad habit impossible, he made his good habit inevitable. And the result? The Hunchback of Notre Dame was finished 2 weeks early. Now that is the power of a commitment device. And look, we can totally do this in our own lives. To stop endlessly scrolling at night, get an outlet timer that just kills your Wi-Fi at 10 p.m. automatically. To eat healthier, ask the waiter to box up half your meal before it even hits the table. To stay focused during the week, delete all those distracting apps off your phone on Sunday night. You're making a choice in the present to protect your future self. So when you pull it all together, you realize the secret to finding structure in chaos isn't some perfectly color-coded calendar. It's building an adaptable system. A system built on those 1% improvements, all focused on who you want to become, and supported by flexible tools that make the right choices the easy choices. And that really leaves us with the most important question of all. It's not, what do you want to achieve? It's, who do you wish to become? Start right there and let every tiny action you take be another vote for that person.